Good afternoon and welcome to this seminar on funding that you could access for your company or for your civic organisation. So I'm really pleased we've got a great panel here today, and you're going to hear from some people who've actually already had these funding, have benefited from this funding already as part of GW-SHIFT. So really pleased that you could all join us today. I'm just going to share some slides and we will get started. So good morning or afternoon, I should say. My name is Karen Brooks and I'm the Deputy Director for GW-SHIFT. So what is GW-SHIFT? Well, as usual for a university, it's an acronym. And it's really about the Great Western area and creating hydrogen, a hydrogen cluster and ecosystem that's going to help develop the economy in hydrogen in this region.
That we can understand ahead of the general election. And that came from a context where there was a lot of policy churn over the last decade. So really wanted some consistent policy that we can work in towards.
We've got somebody
planning, provide some framework for long-term goals.
So
we know how the government will allocate its resources, will allocate its sort of capabilities.
Okay, that sounds like somebody's stopped now. They're all on mute. If Anastasia, if you could make sure you mute everyone as they come in, that would be great. So back to GW-SHIFT, it's a two-country program. So we're across South Wales and the Southwest England, a really exciting region for hydrogen that's got a lot of infrastructure and resources available within that area that makes it a really good play for hydrogen, the hydrogen economy, and really developing that in this region. So we're creating this ecosystem of activity and developing so that we can have an impact from a net zero perspective, but also an economic impact. There's engagement with academics, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment, so that we can really drive that hydrogen economy. So now research and funding and development activities where you can be involved. We've got 3 different types of funding that you can access. This is access to support academic research for part of your R&D that you might need. So there's these small sprint projects where you have novel ideas, you might have a proof of concept, it can relate to policy development as well. And it's co-produced with academics, and that there's a clear opportunity to be able to create an impact in that region. And those sprint projects could lead to further funding through our high impact grants, which I will talk you through in a moment. So it's really focused on the region. So you've got to make the impact in the region and there's up to 25k funding, and we're going to hear about one of those sprint projects in a moment. We also have the high impact. This is the slightly larger value grants where we can get up to 65k to support your project, to take it to the next level. So hopefully it can then be a commercializable product, or service, or perhaps it's a policy that can be implemented, or installation of some facility. That does have to have in-kind support from industry, so from yourselves, whether it's your company or your civic organisation, to support those grants. And then finally, we have secondments, and we're going to hear about that as well. A great secondment with a civic partner. So this is where you could have an academic going into your company or organisation, or have somebody from your team going and working in academia for a period of time, usually 3 to 6 months. These are, and there's up to 15k to support that through the university. So that could be the academics salary, or it could be facilities that are being supported with you having somebody positioned in academia for a period of time in the university. So those are the three ones where we're providing funding. The other area, which Set Squared is working with us in this area, we have a huge amount of experience of creating these collaborative R&D grants, helping you access things like Innovate UK grants. And we can help you find the right call, find the right academic partner, and give you access to grant writing support as part of the programme. We know from a programme that was run by Set Squared that you're 3 times more likely, actually over 3 times more likely, to be successful with a bid if you've had some access to grant writing and you've got academics in there that are providing. So there's some research in there that is providing the value and the rigor around what you're trying to do from your research and development perspective. So that it's really important to have that academic partner in there. They often prove the value of what you're trying to do and can actually show that. So Yuchen's going to tell us a little bit more about that in a moment. So first of all, I would like to introduce Bill Wyman from Hippo Hydrogen Solutions. Bill's going to tell us a little bit about his sprint project. So over to you, Bill.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Afternoon, everybody. So basically, just I'll give a brief outline of what Hippo Hydrogen Solutions does. We were set up about 2 years ago. Our kind of mission is to expedite the shift away from fossil fuels. And so we're a service-based company trying to stimulate the green hydrogen economy by creating demand within local communities. So we kind of do it a bit different to everybody else. Everyone seems to produce hydrogen and then run around saying, who wants to buy my hydrogen? And we're basically working from the other end, finding those companies and then working back and then being able to supply the hydrogen. It does give us a unique opportunity to identify weaknesses in the supply chain, and then to use innovation to decrease or to eliminate altogether those risks. One of our innovations is to make the delivery of compressed hydrogen cheaper and more sustainable. So as you can see from the picture, we designed a modular system that next slide, please, Karen, that includes containers, fuel cell generators, and not pictured, battery banks and solar. The idea being is, next slide, please, Karen, that them all being modular, they all fit on the back of a lorry much better. They're all very easy to integrate together with quick connectors. So you can specifically design a deployment very simply with how much power you need and how much hydrogen you need to run that over a set period. Next slide, please, Karen. My final slide. I'm not going to bore everybody too much. So just as a comparison, I think the main competitor to what we call the Hippo container is the multiple container packs. And as you can see from there, a significant weight difference. You're looking at 1,800 kilograms there or thereabouts for an MCP. And a Hippo is going to be about 250 to 300 kilograms. They will carry about the same amount of hydrogen. This becomes really important when you look at carrying capacities. What we were finding was we were doing deployments, trials, and on one hand we had to arrange for delivery of MCPs, which have to come on an Arctic because they're heavy, and then somewhere else we had to then have another supplier to provide us with generators. So by having these modular products, they can all be done in one delivery, and you can get many more Hippos onto a lorry than you can an MCP, as illustrated on the diagram. If I pick out a 44-ton Arctic lorry, you could probably carry 15 multiple container packs, giving you a total of 240 kilograms of hydrogen, whereas you could carry 36 Hippos, giving you nearly 3 times as much hydrogen in one delivery. However, because of the modular system, we kind of look at it like a milk round, whereas a tube trailer can make one delivery and then has to sit there whilst it slowly empties its tanks. What we can do with our deliveries is obviously this milk round, drop off a certain amount of Hippos at one site and then move to another. And then carry that on. So it's kind of taken that middle ground. Everybody seems to be jumping from small to huge, and the costs of £750,000 for a tube trailer. That's not going to help us to grow the industry, and it's completely neglecting the smaller ends of the market. So your construction sites, your media, filming sets, that kind of stuff, who aren't going to pay £750,000 for a tube trailer. So that's a quick outline of what we were doing. This we're only about 2 years old, so this was an idea that we had about a year or so ago, and then we got involved with GW-SHIFT, and so basically we did a sprint project. It was only 2 months, and for us it was really good because it was really light touch. We didn't have to do a lot of work. We're obviously very busy inventing things, so some of the, I'm going to say, more mundane stuff, like our market analysis, was one of the key outcomes of the project, and that gave us, and I have it here, a market report on portable hydrogen tanks in South Wales and the United Kingdom, which is a really thorough report that was written by the university, and it just gave us that confidence, and also gave us that confidence to then go to investors. And also gave us that confidence when we were applying for grants, because it took a massive chunk out of when you're writing a grant and it says, what is your market analysis? Well, I've got a bloody really comprehensive report, which I could include in that. Some other things that the project did was minimum viable product definition. We created a virtual test bed, created CAD prototypes, and also 3D printed scale prototypes, that we could obviously get our designs right to maximize how we fit them on lorries, what kind of forklift sort of iterations, that kind of thing. So really successful project, and really light touch from us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Bill. That's great. Really exciting project there of a different way of carrying hydrogen. And I think we'll talk a little bit about what the next steps are when we get into the panel discussion. So I'd like to now hand over to Dr. Stephen Carr, who's going to tell us a little bit about a secondment project he has.
Thanks very much, Karen. So yeah, my name is Stephen Carr. I work for the University of South Wales, and I specifically work at the Baglen Hydrogen Research and Development Centre. So we're focused on the demonstration development side of research. So we work with companies testing hydrogen-related products. We're hosting Protium Green Energy at the moment, making hydrogen at our site, which is one of the companies Bill was talking about, making hydrogen, green hydrogen for consumers. And we also work with local authorities. If we go to the next slide, this this secondment is building off a few projects we've had with Caerphilly Council. So we've a couple of strands to that. We had a couple of funded projects through Innovate UK, looking at public engagement around energy technology and decarbonisation. So kind of an innovative approach there for the local council, who have their own decarbonisation targets and challenges, and how they can bring their local community with them on that. So that one of the things they were finding is that they were doing standard surveys and getting responses, but when they delved deeper, they were finding that actually those responses didn't necessarily reflect what people really thought or had knowledge of. So they might ask people, do you know about hydrogen? And they get a response saying yes. And when they delved deeper, they found out, well, actually, there wasn't really much knowledge there. So trying to trial different approaches to engagement to suit different people. And also some funding through the Welsh Government Hybrid SBRI project, which is looking at a specific hydrogen project in Caerphilly Council, looking at electrolytic hydrogen. So we had a couple of phases of funding through that, looking at techno-economics, feasibility, and then specifically looking at some innovative using waste heat from the electrolysis to treat water, to help think about circular economy and improving the efficiency of the process as well. So if we go to the next slide. And then really then this is a secondment project which is about to start. So we're going to start in August, and it's trying to build off these existing projects, this existing relationship, and try to embed some of the knowledge that we have as a university about hydrogen and hydrogen-related projects with the council. And then also for us to learn more about how the council works and how we can help them further. So it's a bit of a back and forth, but it's going to be me embedded in with the council for 6 months, looking at 40% of my time, so quite a big time commitment to try and kind of continue this work and try to embed some knowledge. So we're looking to try to keep developing these projects we have already. I'm looking at their vehicle fleet in particular and where hydrogen can play a role there. Some of their vehicles are less suited for electrification than others. Keep on with that engagement and look at developing further funding opportunities. And then, yeah, that embedding knowledge exchange between us and CCBC, between Caerphilly, learning more about hydrogen related things they've got to think about, the regulatory aspects, the safety aspects, which we have experience of from running hydrogen projects, some technical economics, and then for us, yeah, learning more about their operations and how we can help them and help each other more. So that was it for me, Karen.
That's great. Thank you very much, Stephen. And we'll delve into some of those things a little bit more about what a civic organisation really get from this and how that helps them develop their strategy going forward. So thank you, Stephen. It's now my pleasure to introduce Clinton Liu from MCG, who's going to tell us a little bit more about some of the collaborative R&D work that he's done through Set Squared and the HSTEA project.
Great. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate this opportunity. Yes, I'm Clinton. I'm the CEO and founder for MCG UK Canada. MCG means Mutual Clinton Global. We started in Canada. We are supply chain traceability and visibility solution provider. If we talk about hydrogen supply chain, we talk about hydrogen production, storage, distribution, utilization, right? So how to have better visibilities during the change custody, change ownership, the product from one party to another, make sure it's safety handling and monitor potential leakage or elimination, for example, termination. For example, we need to have that clear standards and procedures to make sure it's there. Yes, so really we talk about track and trace. This is about real-time traceabilities. We have been working with AWS, and now we are part of NVIDIA Inception. Developers can do digital twins, the hydrogen value chain solutions, which have a good advantage because the infrastructure is not there yet, right? So there's big investment will be needed to enable this kind of net zero transition. Particularly for MCG, we'll focus more on the maritime shipping and also aviation sector. So the scope 3 is a talk about decarbonization tools. We talk about how to measure the carbon emissions, what's their life cycle assessment will be like. This will be the evidence approach. Since there's methodology to measure the total life cycle of the hydrogen value chain. And we'll also involve with some verification, certification later on, relevant to standards such as BSI, DNV, for that. If you can turn to next slide. I will see, we really appreciate Salesforce partnership. We talk about HiPact project, HiPact 1.0 and 2.0 had been funded by University of UK in the last 2 years, around 650K pounds. So HiPact 2.0, recently we involved with EDF UK and also Portal Time. We developed the hydrogen, we talk about the green global shipping corridors between Canada and the UK, or between Portal Time and Portal Rotterdam. Okay, so COSCO Shipping, there are strategic partners in England, and our academic partners, of course, in University Cambridge and also Cranfield University. So essentially, for this HiPact project, HiPact means hydrogen impact, right? So essentially, we are really trying to demonstrate the hydrogen potential, pilot or adoption in the maritime shipping. How what's the challenge? Why how to really adopt it, and scaling it in the particular maritime shipping sector. So that's our current focus. Right now, we engage with Port Halifax, as is Eastern Coast Canada. Actually, is a lot of initiative, ongoing between Canada and Europe. So I mentioned NVIDIA here. We are technology solution provider, so we can create kind of digital twin solutions, trying to have better understanding what's the cost, what's the budget, what's the potential risk. We trying to control that based on the primary data we collected. For example, our partners showing here. Yeah. Yes, so essentially, we will continue to working with our partners, especially for the industrial partners, trying to pilot and demonstrate the potentials. As everyone know, probably the IMO, International Maritime Organization, has the target or mandate for trying to talk about the carbon intensity index and also the energy efficiency index, right? So there's a lot of pleasures for the shipping company, vessel owner, trying to how to navigate this kind of complex transition in the maritime shipping industry. So yeah, happy to answer questions during the Q&A session. I stop here. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Clinton. Maritime, of course, a great opportunity for hydrogen, and so it's good to see that MCG are mapping that and understanding how that can actually be implemented through digital twinning. Finally, I would like to go to Yu Chen, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the collaborative R&D activity, which of course Clinton has been involved in as well.
Thank you, Karen, for having me today. I am Yu Chen. I'm the Sector Manager of Hydrogen and the Sustainable Transport program in Z². Very happy to represent Z² and to support GW-SHIFT initiative. So I'm gonna quickly go through the collaborative R&D support that we have, and also some of the funding opportunities that are available for industry and academics. So in Z², we have a mature methodology for collaborative R&D. We help companies to identify funding opportunities with different various funders. So our weapon really is to rely on our 6 universities, which is a large ecosystem, large talent pool. We have over 2,000 academics across different disciplines. So sometimes we encourage multidisciplinary project. Sometimes we even work on multi-institutional collaborative projects. Like Clinton mentioned, there are like multiple project partners from industry and academia within the single consortium. So in Z², we have a dedicated team and tools to support such kind of collaborative R&D bid. So once we identified proper funding core, we can match industry companies to our academics to help to close the knowledge gap, and also to help company with the project consortia building. So it is not just between one company, one university. It is to identify the true opportunity within the project. Who are your where is your market? Who are your potential buyer? And where is your potential project business partner? So we also have dedicated bid writing support to help those high potential, high tech projects, which are like the MCG project, which is a very good example of successful bid that we did before. So in addition to that, we also have other support to collaborative R&D. There are also entrepreneurial training and equity fundraising support, which is not so relevant to today's webinar, but there are a wide range of like support available in Z². So I'm now gonna go through funding opportunities very quickly. So here we can see a number of hydrogen-related grant fundings for startups and SMEs. Some are less hydrogen dedicated, some are more hydrogen tailored. For example, smart grant, everyone can apply. It doesn't matter what technology you are, but if you are doing hydrogen, smart grant is one possibility. If you are, let's say, doing R&D in automotive industry, APC is the funder you should be looking for. If you are doing aviation or aerospace, you should definitely check ATI. They have like very good SME support and non-CO2 program. Also, there is like European funding. So you can also look at something like EIC, which is an equivalent to smart grant. Of course, the scope and the eligibility is a little bit different to Innovate UK's grant, but it's some opportunity outside the UK. And also KTP, it's been running for over 50 years, and it can help you to hire an engineer or scientist to work on your dedicated R&D project around hydrogen. So that's something for industry. And next slide, please. And there are also funding courses available for UK academics. I'm not going through every one of them again, but we truly encourage the collaboration between university and industry. So some of them are very welcome, like collaborative bid. Yeah, that's it. If you have any question about any specific core, I'm very happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing my slides so we can bring all the people together that we have on the panel. So if you have, it looks like we've already got some items in the chat, so we might already have some questions. Let me just have a look at that. Let me just run through these. Yeah, we have time for Q&A. So somebody, this is quite a technical question, I guess. Somebody said, what are the pressure units pressure units mark? But there isn't somebody marked. So I don't know if that was, I assume is bar. Is that what was in Clinton's presentation or perhaps Bill's presentation?
I think it was during Bill's. I did answer in the chat that most commonly in hydrogen, most commonly in hydrogen is bar and kilos is the things that we work in.
Yeah, lovely. Okay. So I'll just ask the panel some questions, and then if you've got any questions for the panel, please pop them in the chat, either to myself or to Lydia, and she will happily make sure that we've got those. So I do have one question, which is probably for me, from Mark Shaw of Sector Refining. Does the innovation and research need to be done in region, or can be completed projects be exploited in the region? And that's very true. It's about creating an impact in the region. So if the projects are being developed elsewhere, that's absolutely fine, as long as there is a clear impact that's going to happen in the Southwest or South Wales. So I hope that answers that question. And also I've seen that somebody's asking if we're going to share the slides after, which we certainly will. And there is a also a video of another sprint project which will be in there, so that will be an opportunity for you to see that as well. So let me just start with Bill. What's the next steps for your project? You know, it's great to have this sprint project. You've got a sort of 3D design of it, 3D printed. Where are you going next to get these actually to market?
So with the objective that market analysis report, I did mention it, that has given us some real ammunition to then go and seek further investment to actually get us to production. I can't say too much, but we are very close to having that investment ready for us to then scale up and build the facility and also the tooling that's required to make the actual containers. So we're progressing nicely.
That sounds great. And so,
and that's also across multiple markets as well. So
yes, that's brilliant. Am I right in saying that you've got an expo coming up in July that perhaps people might hear more about this?
Well, thank you, Karen. Yes, so on the 17th of July at Bay Studios in Swansea, this is our second year of H2 Expo, opportunity for companies to display their wares. We believe last year was probably the biggest collection of hydrogen vehicles and equipment that's probably ever assembled in the UK. Certainly in my sort of 12 years in hydrogen and having visited lots of exhibitions and meetings, etc. It's more than I've ever seen. So yeah,
Great.
17th of July. If you go onto hippo.co.uk onto our website, you can easily register, and we'd love to see you all.
We'll make sure that there's a link to that in the slides when they get shared.
One thing, it's probably a world first. We're going to have a hydrogen-powered rodeo sheep. Always.
Well, now that's definitely a reason to come to Swansea if ever I heard one. So a hydrogen-powered rodeo sheep. That's definitely a first here. So Stephen, let me ask you, you're doing this work with Caerphilly Council. What's their aims from this work that you're doing?
So they've got a couple of aims. They've got their own target to decarbonise their own systems, so their own operations. I think it's by 2030, but I stand to be corrected. But they've also got wider aims for their whole of the borough to be decarbonised. So this is helping them. Well, their aim is to some of their operations are harder to decarbonise than others. Some of their vehicle operations, the heavier duty vehicles, because the nature of the borough is hilly, there's longer routes. It may be hydrogen's most suitable for things like refuse vehicles. So how do you do that in the best way? Where do you get your hydrogen from? These kind of things they're looking at. And then developing their own hydrogen infrastructure as part of that. They have experience in things like renewable energy development, photovoltaics, wind farms, but less on the other side. So it's how to develop a project like this, I think, is a key aim. And as well as that, it's this kind of the public engagement side of things. So how do you bring the public along with you, your constituents on this kind of decarbonisation journey? And again, some of the consultations they're doing, it's helping them with the information that they might need to share with their residents and how best to do that, I think.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting. I know that there are other projects that we've seen around the country, not just in countries, I should say, not just in Wales, but in the whole of the UK. But really exciting that they're being forward thinking. Do you know why? Why is Wales so useful for looking at this hydrogen in particular?
So I think there's a lot of hydrogen. It maybe goes into the radar, but there's a lot of hydrogen use in South Wales already. There's that heavy industrial background. So there's lots of experience of hydrogen use in the region. There's looking like we'll have more infrastructure being developed within that. And I think for the council in particular, each council is unique and each local authority is unique, and they have their own particular challenges. I'm thinking some of the local authorities in the region, they might be quite relatively large but sparsely populated. And maybe quite hilly as well, and that gives them their own challenges for decarbonising some of their own vehicle fleet. So I think there's lots of reasons why this region is interesting for hydrogen. There's also as you get more and more people doing things, you get more and more collaboration and more opportunities coming in into the area as well. So that's really important.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stephen. So Clinton, tell us a little bit more about the next stages for your product. When can we see this activity actually bearing fruit for the hydrogen economy in the region?
Yes, thanks for the question, Kellen. Definitely Wales, you mentioned there, right? It's wonderful region. I would see Southwest, right? England and Southwest Wales. I was there, a few months ago. Essentially right now for HyPact 1.0 project, I did mention. That project is the UK Australian Renewable Hydrogen Program. We lead for that project along with EDF and our Australian partners, electrolyzer provider. So that project is based in Teesside, North East England. Okay, so leveraging the North Sea, like the offshore wind power, solar energy, and some potential nuclear heat waste, trying to lower the cost of the production of the hydrogen. So clearly, we would like to pilot the trying to demonstrate really the hydrogen, the application in the maritime shipping sector. Could be hydrogen derivative product like ammonia, methanol, right? And demonstrate their technology economic potential behind that. So for MCG, we are a logistics and supply chain technology solution provider. So we focus the shipping corridors, for example, between Canada, I mentioned, and to Europe. Especially Europe right now, there's a lot of regulation talking about the EU maritime, the CBAM, the carbon border adjustment mechanism, and also other IMO regulation, right? So a lot of shipping company really not easy for them to navigate. For example, if talking about hydrogen import, export, how to make sure they are delivered and streamline the import export process. So we provide streamline the kind of value added service behind that. So that's the kind of background here I want to provide. Yeah.
Great. And what do you think needs to be done to see adoption of hydrogen by the maritime community, not just transporting it, but actually using it as an alternative fuel?
Yes. So we prefer like like a Teesside, right? I was there for a few times. Essentially prefer local production, local utilization, right? Without distribution. There's infrastructure like Bill mentioned, the modular containers, right? Infrastructure need to be there. So that's we are collecting the primary data right now, to be honest, because of a partnership with EDF, Prototype, so they can providing the real-time data. And we can, really evaluate their potential, what's the potential improvement behind that, and the shipping corridor aspect as well. Actually, there's close globe, for example, Singapore to Port Rotterdam. Actually, they already did a lot of initiatives, could be helpful for us to learn from and also to building something together. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then Chen, I've got a question actually from our audience, which is great, which is asking about what funding routes you would recommend for pre-revenue businesses with technologies in early TRL level, looking for financial support to create prototypes that can be tested in the real world environments.
Yes, I think it's a very good question, and for most companies who are in pre-revenue stage, it's all about survival. And most innovative UK funding and other public funders ask for match funding, which is kind of like very challenging for early stage companies. So I would recommend people start to connect to universities first, and opportunities like GW-SHIFT is great because you don't have to provide too much funding. Sometimes in-kind is also acceptable. So let's say start from something small, and then if you are successful with some small collaborative projects, then when you start to generate revenue, you can then look into like larger collaborative projects.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, absolutely. GW-SHIFT some of this small funding pots that can actually get the work done by the research community, as we've heard, can then take your prototypes to the next level. So, Stephen, I've got a question for you from the panel, sorry, from the audience. You mentioned waste heat recovery from hydrogen fuel cells. What temperature would you expect the system to emit? And this is Hexotherm Limited produce waste heat recovery systems from ice and are looking at the hydrogen powered vehicles future market. And this was from Hexotherm.
So yeah, this was looking at actually kind of waste heat from an electrolyzer, which you might be coming off that at 70 degrees centigrade, 80 degrees centigrade off that, and this is helping then do some water treatment, which is essentially like a partial pressure evaporation. So you're boiling at a lower pressure to allow boiling at lower temperatures, and you're using that waste heat to do some distillation of water to purify the water. So that's the application we were looking at for this one. But I think anything that helps improve the efficiency of the process by taking advantage of relatively low grade waste heat is going to be beneficial. So it'd be interesting to carry that on, I think.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool. I've got another question which might relate to yourself. Are you aware of any regional schemes to support in costs related to early adoption of vehicles and hydrogen transition equipment in the industry?
I'm not actually at the moment. I think there has been some funding in the past. There's been some industrial fuel switching funding from UK government, but I'm not sure that's still ongoing, whether there's plans for more rounds of that in the future. There's been some regional funding in the past, but there's none that I'm currently aware of. But that's something I'm happy to try to look at as we go ahead. But yeah, not aware of anything specific at the moment.
We will make sure all the panel's details are shared. So if I know that there was somebody who wanted to talk to Bill about something specific on manufacturing, so we'll make sure that those connections can be made afterwards. And Chen, are you aware of any funding calls that might be appropriate to the transition to hydrogen for vehicles? You've been working in sustainable transport.
I think depends on the maturity of the technology and how close to the market. So there are opportunities like a rolling course available from APC. So I would recommend you go to APC's official website to have a look. And also there, like I mentioned, there are also other opportunities outside the UK. So we have like European opportunities like EIC and other Horizon opportunities that you can look to, but the challenge is different. You may need to find yourself a European partner to be in the consortium.
Great, thank you. We've heard here from we've got HyFlax on as well on the call. They have received support through an ATI grant, which is great. And they're working with the IAPS Centre at Bath, which is fantastic, and others like AMRC, Victoria University of Wellington. So, you know, it's international in the access that you can get. Somebody asked why their university wasn't part of this. Any university is part of GW-SHIFT. If you've got a particular area that you're looking at, or we find companies that are particularly looking at specific needs, then we don't just go to the universities that happen to be engaged in GW-SHIFT. It's actually a national program, so we can take bids from any universities across the country. So I hope that's clear. So I can see that there's somebody's put in in the chat a relevant call for Clean Futures Accelerator, so that might be worth looking at. Somebody's asked, is somebody working on bio-waste to hydrogen, please? And they've put their email in there. I don't know, Yu-Chen, if you know any companies that are in that space. I think I remember one from GCV.
I've got one for you there, Karen, actually. So United Utilities are working with Levidian, which is a University of Manchester spin-out. So Levidian do microwave pyrolysis of natural gas and biogas. So I know that United Utilities are working with them on their wastewater treatment, which is biogas to hydrogen. So there's one from the north that would potentially support Hassan.
Oh, that would be great. And Yu-Chen, I think we've got one or two others.
Yes, Levidian is also a member of the Hydrogen and Sustainable Transport Economy Accelerator. So yeah, I recommend them. They've been doing great and they're raising Series B at the moment. I think it's a great partner to work with.
Brilliant. So what I'd just like to ask is, what I'm just going to go around to Bill, Stephen, and Clinton. What do you feel this funding has enabled you to do? You know, what's it? If you hadn't had this funding, what would have happened? So let's start with Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably said it before. It's as a small company, sometimes it's really difficult to do everything. So it's really taken a lot of workload off us for our market reports as an example. So really and it's a fantastic report, by the way. It's a really in-depth report. It was really well done by people from Swansea University, and then it's just massive ammunition for us. So it's something that we probably would have done, but we'd have done it on a late evening, and it would be nowhere near the quality that we got.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. That's reminded me that, you know, one of these things that these grants can do is validate what you're trying to achieve. And that can be so important, particularly if you're a small business and you're trying to find funding, then that's a really good way to get what you're trying to achieve validated, proof of concept, etc. So thank you for that, Bill. Stephen, you know, what's this given maybe to yourself and Carefully? I know it will be helpful in a research environment. Any funding that researchers can get is always useful, but where do you feel the value is for you and Carefully?
Right. So the funding still we're going to start in August, so it's what's going to come rather than what's happened already. So let's hope we fulfill it. But I think there's a few things. So it's relationship building, and continuing that relationship building is really important, and like enabling us to work together. I think it's going to be that embedding of knowledge. So I've been working closely with a few people, or one person in Community Council. That's been really valuable and really useful, but it's going to allow that to expand a bit more within the council, a bit more time to be able to do that engagement and knowledge exchange, and hopefully push some of these projects forwards, because I think it's not to be underestimated how much effort and time it takes to push these projects forward to each stage, which be able to dedicate some time to that as well. I think it's going to be really important.
Excellent, thank you, Stephen. And Clinton, what's this funding that you've received been able to allow your company to do, and how will it take it further?
Yes, thank you, Karen. Yeah, so two funded university project currently ongoing actually. It's two feasibility studies, okay? So, but we're lucky enough to working with industrial players like EDF, like Porttime, and to validate our ideas, to find the real product market fit, as you mentioned there. So that's clearly the primary data. If they don't partnership with the industrial players, they don't want to share the data with us. So that's clearly it's helping us to validate our technology solutions with confidence. Currently, we're also working with DNV, the class authority, trying to have better AI assurance capabilities behind our solutions. So that's something like we do think the university funding was supported by Square partnership, enabling us to get the TRL from 6 to 9. And also we are looking at the commercial readiness level, the CRL as well, trying to find the good point at the right-hand corner. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So hopefully people have been able to see today just how valuable these grants can be, whether it be the grants from GW-SHIFT or it's more doing the collaborative R&D, getting funding from other sources like APC or Innovate UK, and having that support to find the right academics. There are some people who have put in the chat, I should say academics have put things in the chat saying where their expertise are, and we'll definitely keep a note of that. And also other companies as well who have expertise in particular areas where, it's not just about bringing one academic and one company together, as Yu-Chen said earlier. It can be bringing a partnership together to actually take something further to commercialization, which is really important. So I think what I'm going to do now, I can see Mark has his hand up, Mark Shaw from Circular Refining. I don't know, Mark, if you had a particular question you wanted to ask or a point to make.
Yeah, so it's to Yu-Chen and Bill Wyman. So we're a Manchester-based SME that does hydrogen innovation, and we're currently working with the University of Manchester on designing a 2-ton sort of silo site. And what we'd like to do is find out how we could get that same engagement Bill Wyman got to do that market fit report sort of thing. So although we're Manchester based, it's that we believe our solution is going to be quite useful in the early days of creating hydrogen availability. So how can we best engage with that similar sort of support Bill Wyman had, just to get our market fit report done, to just obviously clarify the great work that our master's intern students have done over this summer. So it'll be finishing around about August, just to make sure that we can then continue it in the academic sector, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I'll hand over to Yu-Chen because he can help tell you a little bit more about that. But I'm also going to tell you some routes when we wrap up to be able to access the right support you need. So Yu-Chen.
Yes, so I think we don't set a hurdle for companies outside the Southwest region. So as long as you feel that there is a potential to collaborate with any organizations in our region, or you can bring some benefit or impact to the region, we welcome any discussion or conversation between yourselves. And I think we've got, like I said, we've got a very large talent pool of over 2,000 academics. So if you feel there is any knowledge gap that you have, and you need any specific expertise that from the university that can help you, just let me know. I'm very happy to make to do a matchmaking. And also, if you find there is any commercial potential in the region, and we are very happy to connect you to as well, because in Z Squared we've got a large platform to help you with finding commercial partners, business partners.
Yeah, and I happen to know that the report that was done for Bill actually came from Swansea University. So if it's similar knowledge that's required, happy for us to put you in contact with the academic there, James Courtney. Bill, you might want to add to that.
Yeah, just to say to Mark that we're firm believers that this nascent economy needs collaboration. And there are too many people just trying to grab massive slices of very small pies at the moment. So for us, collaboration is the way forward. Mark would be happy to take this offline another time and see if there's anything we can do to help you.
Thank you, Bill. I know you were a little bit quiet, but I will definitely make those connections there I'm going to put all of your, unless the panel tell me then I can't, I'm going to put all your email addresses into the slides, so you will have those afterwards, everyone. So I think it's a good opportunity for me to share my slides again and just show you a few other areas that we can support you with. So I'm just finding the share button. Let's do that and share so that you can, there are other ways of which we are supporting you in terms of bringing that collaboration in the hydrogen sector together. So there are the projects that I've mentioned, the high impact projects that are around the 65K, they do close on the 28th of July. But there will be another call. So if you need to make that connection, find the right academic, etc. for that, then those projects there will be another call for high impact project. Secondments, if you're interested in secondment, all of this is on the website. You can get access to the application form. You can make an application at any point in time. It's a rolling call. So if you're interested in getting somebody like Stephen or somebody like one of the other academics involved in your projects, or you feel you need to be embedded, one of your technical people needs to be embedded in one of the universities, then let us know. They're smaller projects, they're not a KTP, but they can really add value in the region and for your company or organisation. And then the sprint projects are going to reopen on the 1st of September. We will certainly have one more call, and we may have another depending on funding. So look out for that when that comes through. We have the link to be able to apply for the collaborative R&D grant funding support. So if you're interested in that, and UCHEN's details will be on the page, so you can get access to UCHEN too. Then there are a few things in terms of getting involved. So as I said, GW-SHIFT admin or to UCHEN direct to find the right academic partner. Join the innovation platform. UCHEN just mentioned that. We've already got over 150 people who are all involved in the hydrogen sector on the innovation platform. Join there. You can ask questions of people if you're looking for somebody with expertise in a particular area, or you want to make people aware of what you're doing, then that's the place to do it. And then we have events going on. I'll talk about one in a moment, but you can find them online. And there's also seminars that have already happened if you need more knowledge in this space. And if you click our Keep in Touch form on the website, we will make sure that you are notified of all this different activity that is happening and funding opportunities. So just to finish off, we do have the seminar series the next one is happening on the use of ammonia as a hydrogen carrier, and how that can be utilised from Professor Agustin Valera Medina from Cardiff University. He was going to talk to you a little bit about his sprint project this morning, but he wasn't able to. You'll see a video of that embedded into the slides as well. All the recordings, as I say, you can find online. And finally, that network, that GW-SHIFT Hydrogen Network, the innovation platform, sign up. You can click on the link in the slides to get an account and be able to access a lot of support from people in the community. So it just leaves me to thank our panel. We can do that in the usual way on Zoom, which is, saying thank you like this to both Clinton, Bill, and to Stephen and UCHEN, who joined us today and told us about what they were up to, which thank you very much. We can't do this without you, and it's great to hear of examples of how you've got that value from the academic community and also from the grants that we can get you access to. So please be in touch, and we will see you all soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No.